Joining us for our Hot Topic conversation this week are Tamisha Clark, the General Manager for the Cook Medical Endoscopy Division located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Ken West, the Chief Operating Officer for Polarian located in the Research Triangle Park. Thank you both for being with us on Bottom Line.
Thank you for having us.
Tamisha, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about your background and about Cook Medical.
I'm a product of North Carolina State University's engineering program. I joined Cook Medical as a research engineer, and I'm currently general manager at the company. Cook's been in business for 53 years. 33 of those have been in North Carolina. We're a global company, and we're also family owned. One of the largest endoscopy medical device companies in the world. We employ about 12,000 people globally, and 650 of those are in Winston-Salem. One of the things that I think is the most unique about our company is not only do we manufacture in the United States, but we also develop and design our products at our companies in the U.S.
Oh, great. Ken?
I'm also an engineer by training and been on the commercial side as well. Been in North Carolina 30 years, came here to join a startup medical device company in the veterinary space, and have done 5 or 6 smaller companies since then, taking them public, selling them to others, and a few have crashed and burned as well. Polarian, been with them about 4 years. Polarian is a spin-out with some technology of GE Healthcare and Duke University. It's in the pulmonary diagnostic space. We use MRI to give very accurate images of the lung down to the smallest airways and regionally, so that we give pulmonologists a much more efficient and accurate tool by which they can diagnose disease or monitor its treatment.
So obviously technology is playing a big role in your industry, but I wanted to get to the regulatory environment. Most people probably don't realize that medical equipment is actually regulated by the FDA. They always think it's only drugs that FDA regulates. How has the ACA affected the industry itself?
So as far as that goes, medical device tax has had a big impact on our business. We manufacture in the United States, and we do that because that's a core philosophy of our company. And to continue to do that, we have to remain competitive. And policies like the medical device tax make that more difficult and make it more difficult to get the products that our patients need to them as quickly as possible.
So to be sure, in terms of percentages, like if the tax go up to a level that it was basically cutting on the profit and you were not unable to sort of move the cost downstream?
So it basically impacts our future. Again, as I mentioned, we develop in the United States, and we do that by choice. The tax is a top-line tax, so that means it comes from our sales and not our revenue. And so it has a pretty large impact on our business. And in the future, if the tax were to go into effect at the end of the year, it's going to impact our ability to innovate and to continue to employ engineers as well as manufacturing in the United States. You know, most of our competitors have taken a lot of that offshore, and we would really like to try to keep that in the United States.
Good point. Ken?
Well, I tend to work with earlier stage companies than Cook, which is a little bit more established. And so for us, the challenge is really to develop our product and take it into the marketplace. And there I think actually the ACA has helped a little bit over these last few years. In terms of developing products, the ACA has kind of made the path towards commercialization a little bit easier, because right now what's rewarded more than just personal relationships with physicians and physician preference is the actual performance and economics of the medical device. So to the extent that you can demonstrate that, that's been good. And the FDA, we've noticed with some metrics that have come into place over the last 5 or 6 years, tends to work at a little faster pace than they used to. Can still be a lot better, but it's a little faster. It's a step in the right direction. The big difference, though, is I think in the area of reimbursement, where getting reimbursement for your devices is a little bit more complicated, and that adds some additional research work to support reimbursement levels and adds a little bit of time to the development process before you can get into the marketplace.
What does the landscape look like in terms of research and development? What are some of the challenges in terms of getting products and having the research dollars, the spin-off opportunities? What does that part of your industry look like now?
Well, if I can jump in as an early stage company, it's access to capital. And the venture capital community for medical devices has essentially dried up. A lot of the money is going towards some of the new health IT apps. A lot of the money is going towards some of the pharma applications. Immuno-oncology is big right now. So early stage venture capital is quite difficult. In fact, in the 30 years I've been in the business, this is one of the tightest points ever.
So what do you do?
Well, you have to be creative. So Polarian, in fact, we've brought in our investment capital through strategic relationships with some suppliers, for one. And
So that means what? You're giving suppliers an ownership in the company?
correct. And then we're about to be closing on significant funding coming from the UK, where they have some specific tax incentives to invest in earlier stage companies.
Tamisha, similar challenges?
So I think the regulatory field is pretty complex. I mean, we're a global company, so we work with many different regulatory agencies around the world. But I will say that we've had a lot of successes similar to you in the recent past with working with the FDA. And I'd actually just like to mention one briefly that we've had. We've recently gotten FDA clearance on one of our devices, which is used to address esophageal atresia. It's a birth defect that babies are born with, and basically their esophagus is not connected. The upper and lower is not connected. And historically, this has required surgery. But we've been able to create a device along with the clinicians that we work with that uses magnets. So it's a non-surgical procedure to actually enable those babies to eat and to function normally. So we're really proud of the work that we've been able to do with the FDA there, and really excited about what's on the horizon.
So as a final thought, real quickly, as employers in North Carolina, are you finding the workforce you need for the jobs you have?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are lucky to be where we are in Winston-Salem. It's been so healthy from a textile perspective in the past. We've gotten a lot of very skilled workers that have come to join us.
Where are you getting them from, Tamisha?
We're basically getting them right around the North Carolina area. So a lot of them are coming from some of the historical textile industries. So they come in with a lot of the handcraft and the very fine dexterity that we need to make the devices that we have.
What about you?
Workforce?
Yes, that's been improving tremendously over the last 30 years. The work that the North Carolina Biotech Center has done to make a real community around life science industries has been great. That's attracted folks in. And I'll be honest with you, one of the things that's helped us the most has been the Affordable Care Act's stance on pre-existing conditions. It is so much easier today to pull out a great researcher from Duke or a large company once they don't have to worry about losing health insurance for their family or themselves.
Tamisha, Ken, thank you so much for being on Bottom Line this week.